Hi, welcome to the Be Courageous online summit. My name is Tracy Tadero. I'm a self-love mentor and life coach. And the intention for this summit is to provide support and encouragement for everybody that is going through this times of turmoil and adversity. And so our special amazing guest today is Sarah Nuse. She's the founder and CEO of Tippy Toes Dance Company, an internationally recognized company with franchises across the United States and China. Tippy Toes is a dance company that focuses on health and nutrition for children, and it's franchised across the country. Sarah has been recognized in Entrepreneur Magazine, as well as featured on ABC's Shark Tank in 2012. Sarah speaks to a wide range of audiences about balancing Jesus, family, and business. Sarah and her team have released 6 children's music albums and currently finishing number 7. Sarah is a co-author with her husband, Adam, of a children's book. She just completed her first business book, Destined for Greatness. Sarah is the host of her podcast, Destined for Greatness, and Destined for Greatness hosts accountability groups helping women reach their full potential through daily action. Sarah is the wife to baseball executive Adam Nuse and mother to her 3 children, Lucy, Lola, and Hank. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and so thrilled for what you're doing for so many people.
Thank you. And you are such a great addition to this. So it's just amazing that, the people that are coming together to speak on this platform have such great messages. And I know you've got just such a great story, and I'm so excited for you to get to share that and share some pointers and tips and experiences of your own. To help people get through these challenging times and step outside the box a little bit, I guess.
Yes, it's definitely the time to do that. We have the time to do it. And what I love seeing is so many people that have had ideas, but their day-to-day job and duties and schedule have kept them from moving forward and taking action. And now I've seen a lot of people doing that. And if you're one that's listening and watching and have an idea in your heart and haven't taken action, hopefully I can inspire you today to step out there and start moving forward.
Yes, this amazing woman can inspire. What she's done and what's come out of it has been incredible. So let's start talking. Tell me about a time in your life where you had to take action.
Well, actually, the story of my business life started because I had to take action. So I was in college and I was waitressing at a Mexican restaurant on the border in Norman, Oklahoma. And I happened to be a huge Oklahoma football fan also. And I had worked there my whole freshman year trying to save enough money to have a car. My parents said, hey, if you want a car to get around, you've got to pay for it yourself. And so I'm like, great. So I got a job my freshman year and saved enough money for a down payment for a car. My sophomore year, I go back, well, Oklahoma starts doing really good in football. And they are getting ready to play Notre Dame. And that's where my best friend went to school. And she got some tickets to the game. And so I told my boss, I'm like, you'll never believe this. I got tickets to the game. And I vaguely remember him saying, if you're supposed to be working and you don't show up, you won't have a job. But this was a big football game, and I was a sophomore in college, and so it vanished from my mind. And I went and I had a blast in South Bend, Indiana, and I came back so foolishly, walked into work looking for my name on the schedule. And I'm like, I don't see my name anywhere. And I'm asking my coworkers, is this the updated schedule? And then, the manager comes by and I said, hey, I think you left me off the schedule. And he said, Sarah, I think you forgot what I told you. If you didn't show up to work, you are no longer with us. And I was like, wait, so I'm fired? And the problem is I just had bought this car. I had to have the job. I had to have enough money to pay my car payment. It was $238. And for a college student, that's a lot of money. And so I did what most college girls do. I called my parents crying asking them for money. I said, Mom, Dad, you'll never believe what he did, because right, it's not me, it's
Right,
him.
no.
And so I said, he fired me. And my parents did the best move that they could have ever done as parents. And now my kids are, going to suffer through this too. But instead of handing me money to get me out of my problem, my mom reminded me of when I was younger. When I was 12 years old, I started teaching dance for the neighborhood kids in my neighborhood. I did that from 12 to 18 every summer. And she said, why don't you go to the local daycare and teach dance and try to get enough money to pay this car payment? And I was like, okay. And it was that take action moment. I'm like, I didn't have time to really think about it or plan. I just needed money. And so dance was my passion. It still is my passion. And I love little kids. So it just worked out. But it was that taking action. I could have said, oh, Mom, that's a really great idea, but I mean, what am I really going to do? But it was a hang up the phone, look, where is the closest daycare center, and drive over there. And I drove over there, and I remember, like, I said, hi, I'm Sarah, and I'd like to come teach dance to your students. And she was like, okay, what's your company name? And in that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have a company. And just like I know my own name, the words Tippy Toes came out, and right there in Norman, Oklahoma, my business was born.
Oh my gosh, that gives me chills. That is such a great story. Like,
Thank you.
pressure under fire, right? Nothing like pressure under fire.
Exactly. And you know what? So much of it was being so naive. Like, I wasn't thinking about, I think a lot of times we overthink things now. Like, well, what's my business plan look like? What's my cost? I went in there, and this, I don't really suggest this, but a little bit of it is good. Go in there with so much passion and a great need to fill, and then the rest of it kind of works itself out. I think sometimes we get stuck behind the desk trying to get A to look, and then B, and then C to all look so perfect that we sit so long trying to make it perfect, and we never move forward to take action.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, it's just one of my little mottos is just do it. Just something is better than nothing. A whole lot of something better than a lot of trying to be perfect, because we want everything to look perfect. And I know when I built my business, it was like, oh my God, I want the logo to be perfect. And I want all this. And it's just like, you know what, just do it. In 5 years, you can revamp your logo, and you can,
Yes. So good.
That is good. So you had, these steps that you had to take to become, for your dreams to become your reality. And I think it's important to lay out a little blueprint for people, if you want to share those 5 steps that, can really be helpful in people going from a place of, I have something that I want to do, and I just don't know how to move forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I stick to these 5 points so closely because I've seen it happen over and over. So I've owned Tippy Toes for 21 years. So it started when I was 18 years old. And, it wasn't, like I said, on the blueprint of this is what I'm going to do forever. I actually was still in school, and I kept going to daycares and preschools, and Tippy Toes kept growing, but I'm still sitting in college thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my life? And my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, he's like, I think you should totally do this. I'm like, well, I love it. It seemed too simple. Like, I had gone to school for a degree. I didn't need a degree really for this. So it just seemed too simple for me. But then once I realized things were being revealed, like, oh, I'm actually really good at this. And this is where my passions lie. And so the 5 steps that I really hone in on are know what you want. So I knew that I wanted to be a mom one day. I knew I wanted flexibility. I love working with children. I went to school to be an elementary education teacher. You guys, I failed at school. I was the worst student. And I remember I got into the university on probation, and I stayed there my entire time at the University of Oklahoma. And I remember signing up for a class, and it was called Intro to Elementary Education. And it was my very first class in my degree. And I was so pumped because I'm like, okay, this is my first day. And I went in there, and there's probably 30 other girls, really, maybe not very many boys. And I had my backpack, we had all of our cute, like wannabe teacher stuff. And I walked in there and it was the grouchiest old lady that wasn't really into it. It was the hardest class. Sorry, my dog's right
Yeah,
there.
I saw him.
It was my hardest class I had taken, and I failed it. And so at that moment, I was so confused because my whole goal was know what you want. Well, I knew I wanted to have flexibility, and I thought that's what education would do for me. And I knew I wanted to work with kids. Lo and behold, I'm doing that right there. I have a flexible schedule, and I was working with kids. And so knowing what you want, it may not fit in the box that you feel like it should. Like mine, I was like, no, I'm supposed to be elementary, and I was shoving it in there. Meanwhile, getting letters back saying F, D, try again, probation, all of these things. And I was scratching my head all the while. When I'm frustrated, I'm going and teaching dance. So knowing what you want. And then I think another huge thing is those small daily deposits equal great success. So tippy toes, people will look at it and say, wow, they've done so much. And I'm like, it's been 21 years. We have to have done a lot, because that's a lot of days to have worked for it. And so we franchised our business. We have virtual classes. We've written our own music, but that all didn't happen overnight. It's been this small daily deposits that have equaled great success. When we wrote our first music album, I didn't think, oh, we're going to have all these children's album. I really wanted a children's television show, and what would be better than starting with an intro song? And so I wrote the song "I Love Tippy Toes." And I was at church one day, and I was talking to our music producer, and I said, man, I really wish you could help me write this song. I've written out the lyrics. And he's like, oh, that'd be cool. And he calls me the next day and he said, well, why couldn't I help you write a music CD? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, could you? And I hadn't really done a lot of research. He's like, I mean, let's give it a try. And it's one of my favorite projects we've done, because it was us just kind of putting it together, small daily deposits. And all of a sudden we're looking at releasing our 7th music CD. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you asked me to sit down and write music, I couldn't do it. I can write lyrics, but I found somebody who was really, really good at what he did and really passionate about what he did. And together we've been able to work and create this beautiful library of music. And the whole goal in our class is, I want kids to feel inspired. I want them to feel encouraged. I want them to feel loved. And so we can thread that through our music. We're not trying to teach prima ballerinas and tippy toes. We're trying to build self-confidence and help people to just feel great about who they are and how they were created. And our music does that. And so it's a tool for us and our teachers. So know what you want, keep those small daily deposits. The next thing that is so key is surround yourself with people that will support you. I wrote something, and it's going to be in my book, but it's about who we choose to surround ourselves with. When we have dreams and goals, but we have somebody there always putting a wet towel on it, saying the reasons why it won't work, why we're not enough, why we don't have enough money, why we're not good at it, that can feel so defeating. Time after time after time. And so surrounding ourselves with people who see our vision, and also surrounding our people who don't see our vision but believe in who we are as people and know that we can do it. There's been several times that I've had people be like, okay, I just know that you can do it. I don't see where you're going with this, but I know you can do it. And that's key. That is so key. The people that will cheer you on, the people that when you leave a room, they're going to talk praises over you to other people. Those are the kind of people that I want to surround my life with and myself with. My husband is such a huge encourager to me. He's the one, actually, when we were on Shark Tank, we're sitting and watching the show. It was season 1. We're sitting on our couch. We just put our kids to bed. I'm like laying down. I think I only had 2 at the time. They were 2 and 3. And I'm like vegging out. Okay. And I'm like, Adam, you've got to watch this. This is amazing. Season 1, we're watching, it's about grease monkeys. I remember it so perfectly. He's sitting on his computer typing, and I'm like, Adam, and I keep kind of hitting him, and he's like, yeah, kind of looks up, and I'm like, he's so not into this. I'm like, this is so cool. Well, about 3 months later, I'm driving the kids someplace, and I get a call, and this lady says, hello, this is Roberta from ABC Shark Tank. And my jaw drops, and I call Adam immediately, and I'm like, you'll never believe that they found us. And Adam was like, oh, they got the submission. And I was like, what? Well, Adam had, when he was sitting on the computer, he already thought Megan and Sarah, my business partner, who's also my sister, they're going to be excellent on this. So without even telling me, he's pushing me forward, and he does that constantly. And then my sister, who's my business partner, she and I, like, having her, and I talk about this a lot, but she is the details. She fine-tooth combs things. She makes sure we're X, Y, Z, where I'm like, big picture, let's throw spaghetti on the wall, let's see what's happening. And then she takes the spaghetti and lines it up, and it's just the most beautiful thing because we work together. And so surrounding ourselves with people like that is so important to reach the next level. And then the other big thing is find out what's blocking your view. There are so many things that are going to block your view. If you think you're going to jump out and do something different and not have any problems or adversity, you're fooling yourself, because that's part of the journey. And I have found that through every hiccup, there is a hallelujah at the other end. It's like I hit something and I'm like, golly, why does this feel uncomfortable? All of us sitting here in the pandemic, we're like, oh my gosh, I was climbing, building, and then you feel as if the wall has come down. Really what it is that mud that fell, you start stacking it up, and instead of stairs, now you're climbing a hill. You have to figure out how to use it differently to reach your next level. Back to when we were on Shark Tank, Mark Cuban, we were in the Shark Tank, and they thought we were absolutely nuts for wanting virtual classes. We wanted a virtual show where kids at home could dance from home. Well, look where we are in 2020 in the pandemic, and the only way to reach our students is through virtual classes. And so June 12th, our little mascot, Tippy the turtle, is coming to life. She should arrive on my doorstep. And we have virtual classes right now for kids, but then she's going to start engaging, and I'm going to be able to launch our very own television show when the sharks on ABC Shark Tank said it couldn't be done. And so I think there's always people that will say no. There's adversity all along the way, but if you believe in your spirit and you know it's good, that adversity, if we can take it and shift it into how can we grow and how can we adjust and how can we find out what's blocking our view to our benefit, then that's really helpful. And then the last thing, which I've talked to you about, is taking action. We can know what we want, surround ourselves with good people, be good every day with those small daily deposits, see what's blocking our view. But if we never take action, it's all for nothing. We have got to take that step forward, moving one step at a time, because when we do that, we enter into greatness. And people will one day look at you and say, wow, they were really brave. During that pandemic, they stood out and they did this, or they walked away from their job because they believed in something greater that they were doing, or, they had that tough conversation, or they decided to exercise after they hadn't been to the gym in forever. Whatever that step out for you is, it takes the small daily deposit of just doing a little bit. And then it gets more comfortable and more comfortable. And before too long, people are looking at you and asking, how did you do it? And so those are my 5 steps that I just cling to all the time.
I love it. Thank you. Those are such great steps to follow. And, the last step for me, would you know that 1 month ago, I was terrified to be in front of a camera? Terrified.
Are you serious, Tracy? And you're just adorable and so smart that's crazy. I mean, but I love that you took action. I mean, and how much better do you feel now that you just did it? It's not nearly as bad as probably you thought, right?
No, not at all. And the best part is it's like, this is happening. And like, everybody gets to see these amazing speakers. They get to see you and your story. And it was like, people that would have not been exposed to it get to see it. And it was because I had to, you know, shush
Yeah.
that little ego and just be like, this is what you are destined to do. And
Love it.
so
I love it. Well, and I also think that, each of us is wired so differently. And the words that we choose to allow seep in our mind, like, okay, we're not good enough, or what will people think, or what if I end up, I don't know, doing whatever. We start telling ourselves that when really the world doesn't say that. We are our hardest critics. But I also think that, God does plant seeds in each of our hearts that, like, you were meant to do this. This is meant for you. And if you don't do it, you're robbing the world of an opportunity to meet so many people. Like, I cannot wait to watch all of the lineups that you have. I will learn so much from the speakers that you bring on. And had you said no to this opportunity, you would be depriving me. And so I just want to thank you for stepping out there. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's actually not even fun, but when you feel that nagging in your spirit, it's important that you take action. So I'm so proud of you.
thank you. Thank you for the validation that it's truly like, I would be keeping it from somebody like you, who's just like now has access to this great, series of phenomenal speakers. So, oh my gosh, this is just I'm so glad you're here. This is great. I love it. And your energy is amazing. And I know like people are just wanting to do something. They've got this burning desire inside of them to do something. And as the world's getting ready to open up, like I was saying earlier, are people going to choose to just go back to the status quo, or are they going to step out? And, I know excuses is a big, well, I don't have the money, I don't have the connections. And you know what? Our world is really so small because of the internet, right?
Right.
So there's access to any connection. I mean, I went out of my comfort zone and reached out to speakers that I never thought would be speaking on my little, summit that is by somebody who's never even put on a summit. And the response was amazing. And, people who make the excuses of money, there's crowdfunding sites out there. If you have an idea and you believe in that idea and people feel your energy in the words that you write on there, they will support you.
Right.
And, there's free classes, there's groups for people, entrepreneurial groups, or, art groups or dancing groups or whatever, for people who will support you in whatever the passion is. And so I think it's good that people realize the resources are there. Like, can't use excuses, because really anymore, there's an answer for anything that you claim is getting in your way.
Right. Well, and I think to speak on that is, if you have an idea and you don't take action, you're going to look back in 2 or 3 years and somebody's going to be doing it. And it's going to be that moment of, I thought of that. But nobody cares about what you thought of. People care about what you do. And so don't get caught in the like, oh, that was my idea. Get caught in the, that's my idea, and now I'm making money on it, or now I'm impacting people, or now I'm influencing people or helping people, whatever that is, make that be yours.
Yeah, very good advice. And I think the thoughts, when we let the thoughts control us instead of just observing the thoughts, right? And taking control of the thoughts and redirecting those thoughts, like we have the power to do that. And I think a lot of people just let those thoughts become who they are. And that's a key part in having that shift in mindset. So when somebody decides to make their dream or their vision a reality, I know that accountability is super, super important. And so obviously you had a group. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I really think accountability is key, because we are people that are created for connection. And I know for me, I can get up and say, I'm going to do a workout. I normally work out at 6 a.m, but I can easily turn off my alarm if my workout buddies have said they can't make it. But my workout buddies are normally in my driveway, and so it takes away the thought of saying no. And it's the same to be true in business. I host accountability groups where people tell me what their dreams and goals are. what they think their day should look like to equal the success that they want. And then I hold them accountable every single day. And so we have morning check-ins. It's intense. It's a morning check-in and an evening check-in, and then they get certain points and they earn rewards. But it's kind of to keep us moving forward, because I think so easily we can sit in the thoughts of what we should be doing instead of taking action. And Lucille Ball has a quote that I love, and it says, if you want something done, give it to the busy people, because the busy people can juggle so much more. And I think that's so true. I found it in the pandemic a lot that, we're not going into classrooms to teach dance. Our communication with our franchise owners doesn't have to be so frequent because there's not much going on. And so it can be like, well, we're not doing as much, but I have learned I've got to be accountable. I've got to call this many locations. I've got to check in with this many directors and this many franchise owners. I need to work on this many. We're working on our TV show, so this many scripts. And if I have it placed out, and my sister does too, and we're holding each other accountable, sharing our work, then we're able to move forward. And right now is the time to do it. But I know sometimes self-starting is hard, even for self-starters. And so using your voice to let people know, hey, this is what I'm getting ready to do. Or somebody close to you, like my husband, he'll say, we have a podcast called Destined for Greatness. And it's like, hey, every Tuesday night, which was last night, it was 11 o'clock. The kids were up late. We played pickleball till all hours of the night. But Tuesday nights are our night to do our podcast. And he's like, hey, we need to do our podcast. And I said, man, it's late. And he's like, Tuesday nights are night, babe. And so 11 o'clock last night, and I'm an early to bed normally, but that's our night to do it. And so him holding me accountable, guess what? I'm not going to miss a week of putting out a Destined for Greatness podcast because I pickleballed too late, Yeah. And so I think finding those people that will support you, and he does it so gently. Like if I really pushed and said, babe, I'm so tired, he'd be like, all right, let's do it in the morning. But he knew that my goal is to have a really successful podcast. And to do that, I have to do those small daily deposits. And so I think accountability is key. You see it with workout programs, weight loss programs. If you're wanting to reach a goal, there's steps that you have to take. The same is true with wanting to expand your business or your idea or do whatever it is in your heart. You've got to do something every day, and being accountable to that is really important.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And people are waiting for your podcast. So,
Yes.
Your husband does it, but it's like everybody's sitting there going like, okay, where's our podcast today?
I know. I love it. And you know what? The podcast is one of my favorite things to do. Kind of like this, just getting to meet a new friend, getting to hear somebody's story in a deep, real way, and then getting to share it with so many people. We had a guest, her name's Jordan Larson. She's an Olympic volleyball player, and actually my 11-year-old daughter found her, and she's like, Mom, you've got to interview her. Well, her story was incredible. I not just thought, but I was like, oh, she's an Olympic volleyball player. But her story of her mom passing, her telling her mom when she was young that she wanted to be an Olympic athlete when she was 12 years old, and her mom passing away, and then her having this opportunity to go to Tokyo, and then it kind of getting halted, and there's no Olympics this year. I'm like, Jordan, how did you feel about that? And she gave us a peek inside her window. She goes, you know what? It gives me a year to get that much better. And I just got goosebumps saying that. But I thought, what an opportunity for me, because of the take action step, because Adam was holding me accountable. I got that nugget, and then I get to share that nugget. And so, yes, for us, but for everybody else too. You and I holding this meeting, like, you told me I got to be here, and I'm like, okay, then you better be here. And so that sort of stuff, and then I think our friendship grows through that. And so, and the people that we can meet along the way while being accountable and pushing forward is, amazing too.
Yeah, it is. It's like this, me following that dream. And here I get to meet amazing people. And like you, and I'm so grateful that you were willing to be here and be a part of it. And I can tell there's a connection. So we are definitely going to stay in touch.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. So with the theme of the show, be courageous, any final words for our audience on that topic?
Yes, be courageous. I love it. Now is the time to take action. This is a time where the world has been quiet, and it's time for you to be courageous. Right now, I think during the quiet is the time that we quietly work hard towards what we want. A lot of people are able to continue their job from home, but I know that we also have extra time to be able to push that dream or have that contact. I also feel like people are way more accessible right now. I mean, you can reach so many more people because of technology, and people are less busy. And so if it's that conversation you need to have, the connection you need to reach out to, now is the time, because when life goes back to normal, whenever that may be, it will get busier. People are going to feel behind, and so they're going to feel a lot busier. And so now is the time to be courageous, to step out into your God-given potential with your dreams and goals, and that nugget inside of you, the world is waiting to see. So be courageous so the rest of us can see what is in store for you.
Yeah, and we believe in each and every one of you. I mean, whatever you've got that's burning that burning desire inside of you, we believe in you. So take action. Take action. So we've got, Sarah's got a free gift that she's offering as part of the summit, and the link will be down below in the email that you received, but I will let her explain what that is.
Yes. Okay. Well, one of the big things that I talked about is taking action, and that comes through accountability. And so this is an accountability worksheet that you can fill out and then revisit, and it kind of maps out your day. This is what I'm going to tell myself I'm going to do. And the way we do it in my accountability group is you get check marks or X's, and the goal is to have anywhere between 17 and 14 check marks a day, meaning that you stayed on task for the most part of your day. And so it's really a time to look inward, what your real goals are, what you're really able to do with your schedule. And I feel like it really reveals what really is on your heart as you sit down and look at it. So that accountability worksheet is really powerful if you use it to its full potential. And I know that if you do, you will see amazing action steps forward.
Yes, I'm going to have to download that because I could use a little bit more of that. And then also people can access through your website some of your classes, correct? They can sign up.
Yes, I would love for you to check out our online virtual classes. You go to online.tippytoesdance.com and can sign up, and it's myself and my sister dancing. And after June 12th, you'll see Tippy the turtle too. So if you have little ones, it's really geared towards probably 18 months to about 7 years old, that they can dance at home and exercise and listen to our fun, exciting music written by us. So we'd love to have more visitors.
Sounds fun. And what better chance to keep your kids entertained as we're continuing through the hopefully tail end of this.
Yes.
But anyway, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. I so appreciate you being here, and I know our viewers are so grateful for everything you've shared and the tips and the guidance and sharing your story and your successes. And it's just, hopefully gives everybody a little push to do something that they've always wanted to do and never allowed themselves to do it. So
well, I appreciate you and you stepping out and saying yes, because I know it was a big thing, but this is beautiful what you've put together. So I appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you. Well, hopefully people out there will say yes too to whatever it is that they are feeling led to do. So in the meantime, be courageous, and we are signing off with love and light.